If you want to scale your agency, there is one thing you need more than anything else: an outreach method that actually works and consistently closes high quality clients on autopilot. And there is one method that has generated millions of dollars in revenue and has closed 7 to even 9-figure companies for myself and countless other agency owners. In this video, I'm going to break it down on this whiteboard and show you exactly how it all works and how to set it up from scratch today, so you can sign bigger clients more consistently with less effort, even if you are a complete beginner. Let's dive in. Just to give you some proof and a little bit of a sneak peek as to the power of the strategy I'm about to show you, here are some of the screenshots of the monthly retainers I've signed using this exact method that I'm about to show you. This is a method you cannot find anywhere else online. No other sort of guru, program, course kind of seller is talking about this method, and it's purely come from my experience of trying for the last 5 years to find the best way to sign on clients. And then one important thing as well is that none of these retainers were retainers that I signed at the point where I'm at right now. Obviously, after 4 or 5 years of running an agency, I chose these screenshots specifically because these were retainers I signed within my first 3 months of running my agency as a complete beginner with no experience, no skills, no knowledge, pretty much exactly where you are. And that's why I'm showing you these screenshots. And also as well, here is a few screenshots of the logos of some of my clients that I've signed on at my agency. Again, the majority of these clients weren't because I had 4 or 5 years of experience, and most of these clients I signed on within my first year of running my agency. And I didn't sign them on because I had some special case studies or some special results or some really good experience. It was purely because of this method and doing this method properly. So just to make sure you understand, because you may have watched some other videos on YouTube, you may have been a bit confused in terms of what's the best method to sign outreach, because I was in the same position. So many YouTube videos out there from all these gurus talking about the best method to sign high ticket clients or to sign clients in general. And to be honest, I tried all of them, literally all of them, for months and months on end, and none of them work. So then you're thinking, okay, what does work? What's the special method? And it's a method that I call the warm loom method. Now, the key aspects of this method that make it work is you come across as approachable, authentic, and genuine, which is extremely important if you're trying to attract and appeal to high-level business owners that could want to pay you numbers like 5K a month, 10K a month. You have to appear to them as authentic, approachable, and genuine, not someone trying to sell them on something. Second is you give value. What that means is you give advice, you give help before you ask them for anything. What that does, again, is it appeals to the higher quality, higher level business owner because they trust you. This guy's taking time out of my day not just to approach me the same way that everybody else does, but he's actually giving me advice and giving me help that I haven't asked for. And that's why they then feel kind of obliged to want to book in a call with you and talk to you more and give you their time of day. Third is coming across as an expert in your space, not an agency trying to close them. That's a very, very important point. Again, goes back to the same point. A high level, high quality business owner just would not, if they saw an email that said to them, I run an agency and we help these business owners scale their business and I can help you. That is never ever going to get a reply. So any guru that's teaching that, to stop watching them in general because they don't know what they're talking about. Now, what does all this lead to? First, of course, it attracts and appeals to the highest quality. Now, I literally mean the highest quality. If you go back to these type of companies that you can see here, my clients current and past, these are some of the biggest companies in the world, and they all want to talk to me, and then they all closed because I used this method and because I stuck to this method. It goes to show these multiple 10-figure 11-figure companies, some of them they still want to talk to you. They still want to book in a call with you, even though they have hundreds of other people reaching out to them. And that's why, because they are reaching out to them using other methods, but I'm reaching out to them using this method, the warm loom method. So second thing is you get consistent calls booked in every single week. Of course, that calls being booked in means that you have potential clients to talk to, and therefore that means you have more potential clients to close on a weekly basis. And last is it's minimal effort to put in, and honestly like 100x better results than any other method. So like I said before, with these other methods, cold calling, personal brand, paid ads, they require so much in terms of effort, in terms of money, in terms of investment. But the warm loom method, honestly, it's a life hack. It's a secret that nobody else knows, and that's why it works so well. It's still unknown, unsaturated, and honestly, this is why this free course is very, very limited, because I can't give this away to many people. Like this is very, very secret information that if I give it out too much, it's gonna too much to give it for free, if that makes sense. It's too good. The power of this is just you can be booking in calls like a lot of my mentees are doing right now. My students, within the first 2 weeks of them starting at all, completely from scratch, they're booking in calls with multiple 7-figure companies, founders of companies that are just multi-million dollars per year in terms of revenue, and they actually want to work with my mentee who's had zero experience, the same way that I experienced back when I started. I actually, on my 5th week of starting, I booked in 5 calls for the following week. I actually remember this very vividly. And those 5 calls, I managed to close all of them for around the 5 to maybe 6K, 7K retainer. Some of them were, a bit slightly different. And so I literally went from 0 to 25K in that month in the space of 1 week, on the 6th week of ever having, launched my agency. So that's the power of what you can do with this method, and it was only because of this method, nothing else. So what is the setup that you need for this method to work? So there's 3 elements: Instagram, email, and Loom. So first is Instagram. So what you need with Instagram is you need to have 5 to 10 accounts. It's quite easy to set up, nothing complicated at all. But importantly with these accounts is they need to look like it's a real person, a genuine sort of expert, or someone that makes content as an expert in the space that you are in. So for example, let's say you're in my space, what my agency does, where you work with e-commerce brands, you help them with ad creatives, affiliate creators, and paid ads. So I would make an account that looks real. When I say look real, it just has posts, it has highlights, it has a nice bio, it has a profile picture. It just looks real. When you look at the account, you don't think it looks like a bot account or looks like a spam account. It just looks like a normal person. And also, you, for example, buy followers, cost like $1 to get 1,000 followers, and that's pretty much, you just trying to make it look real. Email, you set up 2 sequences. Now, you may not have heard of this before, but there's a thing where you can set up sequences through a platform like instantly.ai. Now, the subscription for that is quite cheap, $30 or so. And what you can do is you can set up something called a sequence, where it automatically sends email from your email address to the prospect. Obviously, you acquire their email address through a tool, and then from there, these emails are pretty much messaging them, emailing them automatically. So it removes you from the process. All you need to do is just check in, see when you get notified that they've opened an email, reply to an email, booked in a call, and that's it. So that's what makes it so automated. You don't need to be sitting there emailing and following up and remembering, oh, I forgot about that lead. Doesn't have to happen at all. And there's 2 sequences. The point is, the first sequence, the whole goal of that sequence is to get them to watch this video. And if you don't know what Loom is a platform that you can just download right now if you want to for free, and it allows you to record your face while recording the screen, almost like you're watching right now, but in a slightly different format. But it's just a free kind of platform where you can record videos that are easily sendable with its own link, and that's why it's quite good to use Loom for this method. So the point of the first sequence of emails, so what I mean by sequence is it will have 10 follow-ups, for example, 7 follow-ups in one sequence. So it doesn't just send one email and stop there, but if the lead doesn't reply or do what you want them to do, it keeps following up with them every 3, 4, 5 days with the emails you write out, and it doesn't stop until they reply. So it takes care of that follow-up for you. And one important part of outreach in general, how to sign clients, is the key really is in the follow-up. You need to have a really good follow-up system in place and not just rely on the first message you send to a prospect for them to reply. And that's what these email sequences do. And the second sequence is obviously then when they have watched the Loom, you then put them into the second sequence, and that just keeps following up with them until they book in a call with you. So the whole process is taken pretty much off of your hands and it's done automatically. Now onto the Loom. This Loom video is purely just a video, just like this, for example, and you don't even need to do it yourself. You can actually pay somebody a couple $100 and they can do it for you, which is something that I do myself actually. So this video is around a 5 to 7 minute video. Very, very simple video, no editing, nothing special at all. Literally just filmed exactly like this, even lower quality than this is fine. And what it does, you're going over a presentation that you can make on a platform like Canva, for example, or it can look like this, for example, as well, if you wanted to. And you make this very simple presentation, and what you're doing in that presentation is giving advice, and you're pretty much, very, very simple advice that you'll come to know when you go through the process of becoming an expert in the space you want to be in. And you should give advice through bullet points, through just showing examples of what it is they could be doing in this certain aspect. For example, for me, if you want to have the same offer that I have to e-com brands, you'd be showing, I'd have a presentation that has bullet points showing the kind of key advice that they would need to hear and want to hear, and what to do with producing ad creatives, UGC, bringing on creators as affiliates and how to get the most money out of them, and number 3 would be how to run paid ads. That would be kind of the 3 bits of advice that I would give them. And then also as well, what I would do, I would show them examples of really good ad creatives that I found. It doesn't have to be ones that I produced, just ones that I found from other brands that I know would be like the best examples that they can make for themselves too. So it's the same sort of product, same niche of product. So I show them, for example, let's say it's a supplement brand, I would find 3 examples of really good ad creatives that other brands are using, and then I would download them and I put them into this presentation and then show them this is the kind of ad creative you should be making. And that in turn is making them believe that you can produce this quality of ad creative, which makes them want to work with you. That's why this Loom is so powerful, and that's the whole idea of it. And also, one really important thing is that that you don't have to film a new video for every single prospect. That's also one sort of strategy that people have, the gurus have. But I found a way to be able to film the video once and it sounds personalized for every single new lead. So you just pretty much send the one video to every single lead, but they think you've made it just for them. It's a kind of secret strategy that I have and that I give to my students. And number 3 is you come across as an expert in your space. Again, not an agency trying to sign them on. So when you're talking in this presentation, in this Loom video, you're not trying to say, yeah, I'm the founder of XYZ agency and I know we can help you do this, and I just want to show you how we can work together and what I can do for you. It's not like that. You want them to see you as a genuine expert in your space, and how you do that is you don't talk about your agency, you don't talk about things like that. You come across as you're just an expert in your space that took the time out of their day to give them advice and help them out. And that's what makes the Loom so powerful, because they don't feel like they're getting sold to. They feel like this person is a genuine expert in solving the problem that we have, which is, for example, UGC creatives, running paid ads and working with affiliate creators for e-com brands, and you're giving them advice now to do it. And that advice then builds trust with them, because they're thinking that, okay, this person clearly knows what he's talking about, or she knows what he's talking about. And then from there, obviously the examples then make them feel like they're actually, okay, they can do what we need. Then they book in a call with you from there. And that's the whole idea of the Loom. So let me just walk through the overview of how this process works. This is the kind of overview of the entire process of what you follow, literally step by step. Again, what I'm showing you here is something that people have paid thousands of dollars for. So the fact that I'm giving it to you for free is insane. Allahumma barak. But we start off with the first step of the process, which is sourcing leads. Now, how we do this is through Google search and through the IG suggested tab. So pretty much the way that works as an overview is, for example, I would search up, let's say, for example, I was going to go after and try to find and reach out to, supplement brands that sell supplements. So I would type in Google, best brain health supplements in the US or in the UK. And then from there, a list of websites would come up, and then I would go and click one of the websites, and most likely it'll be somewhat of a review website. Maybe it will have a list of different brands and products. I would then, if for example, let's say it is products, I would then find what brand that product belongs to. And then if that brand looks like they're qualified, what I mean by saying qualified is not, how much revenue they're making or how many, it doesn't have nothing to do with numbers. All it is to do with is just, do they look like a high quality brand? Do they have a decent amount of followers? Are they posting regularly on Instagram? Do they make content? Are they running ads? These kind of simple things. You don't want to overcomplicate the qualification process. It's really just, if you look at the website, if you look at the Instagram, does it look like a high quality brand? If yes, then you go to start the IG messaging flow. So the way this works, it's a flow where pretty much you follow a process where you use obviously one of the accounts you've set up. Again, that account doesn't have to be your face, doesn't have to be your name. You can very, very easily, which is what myself and my students do actually, who don't want to be the face of the accounts. You can just hire somebody, like a girl from the US, for example. You pay them a couple $100s, and what they will do for you is they'll film the entire video. They'll film a few reels to be posted on the accounts, give you full photos, and you can then make the account. You can obviously, they know this already, that you're going to make the accounts look like them, and then you go ahead and these accounts are no longer your face or your name. It's this girl's name, just like a made up name you've made for this girl, and they kind of act as like, you can call them the client manager of your agency, something like that. That's what I do at my agency. And they're the ones that are seen as the ones reaching out to clients. And then when they jump on a call with you. And the way you handle that is you just say that, this team member, her name, whatever, can't make it today, and I'm the CEO. And usually what that does is actually makes you look high quality, because they see that they're getting to talk to the CEO, not just some team member or some employee of the company. So yeah, pretty much what you do from there is the IG messaging flow is, first you follow and engage with the account and their posts. So you like a couple of their posts, you comment on a few of them, and then you go ahead and send them the first message. Now, again, this message is meant to look like very, very normal, genuine, authentic message. So you say, hey, hope you're having a beautiful day. I just came across your brand or your company, whatever company it is you want to work with, and I really love what you guys are doing, but I just felt like I wanted to give you guys some advice as someone that's been in this industry for a long time. So I made a quick Loom video where I gave a lot of actionable insights into how myself and my team scale e-com brands or info products or SaaS companies, for example, utilizing whatever it is that you're offering. And pretty much this call to action, what you're asking them for is not, do you want to talk to me more? Are you interested? Does this sound good? The only thing you're asking for is, which email is it best shoot the link over to so that it reaches the CEO or the CMO. Now, why that's so important is because you're not coming across like someone that's trying to sell them on, pitching them on a call or some sort of offer, and that's what the majority of other people do. But instead, you're going to do something very, very simple and low commitment on their side, which is just to give you their email address, and that kind of warms them up as a lead. And if they don't reply to that, then you have 2-3 follow-ups, once every 2-3-4 days that look like this. I won't read them out, but they can kind of look like this. And then from there, what you do is if the lead replies positively, you go ahead and mark them as a warm lead. And I'll quickly go through what happens if they don't reply positively. You then move them. You don't just end it there. You don't just rely on them replying to that first message. Instead, what you do is you do the same thing that you just did on Instagram, and you instead do it on email. Now, why you do that is because email is completely automated. So it's pretty much very simple. You just pretty much click their email, click their name, type them into the email sequence of the email platform, and then you just pretty much click, add in, and then they get added to the sequence and they get put to the sequence, completely automated, no involvement for you. And that again is kind of a form of not wasting any leads, which is a really, really important part of this process. And for example, what may happen there is they then kind of the same thing again. You ask them in the email, would you be open to me sending over this video to you? And then, for example, you'll get a reply like this saying, hey, I'm biting. Thanks for the friendly email. Feel free to email it here. And that's kind of the response that you want from this first email or the first message. Then from there, if they do reply positively to either the email or the Instagram message, you then mark them as something called a warm lead. Now, what a warm lead is pretty much a cold lead is one that has never had contact from you or talked to you at all. A warm lead is someone that has actually replied to you and has shown interest in wanting to talk to you more. That is what a warm lead is, and that's what you're trying to. That's what you're generating from that first message or first email. Then from there, just so you know, kind of rough number, if you actually go ahead and do this, you're aiming for around 6 to 8% conversion rate, which means 6% of the leads you reach out to should go from cold lead to then reply to you and become a warm lead. And how this looks as well, for example, obviously one important part of this whole entire process is you don't actually have to do any of it yourself if you don't want to. I never did any of this myself, and instead what I did was I paid a Filipino virtual assistant, which is pretty much just a person from the Philippines who then I've trained to become my full-time employee. I pay them, for example, around $250 to $300 per month, which is a full-time salary over there, and they are then pretty much doing this entire process for me on automation with no involvement from me. And this is, for example, I was pretty much just doing whatever I wanted, learning more, becoming more of an expert in what I want to do, preparing to bring on a client, and every single day I just get reports from my virtual assistant where they tell me how many messages were sent, how many leads followed up with, how many leads responded, how many warm leads we got. And just to show you a couple examples, this is kind of what you're looking for from the Instagram messages. You're looking for them to say, hello, please email this email, hello, please reach out to this email, and that's all you're looking for from the first message. So very, very simple, but it's so effective. Then from there, you obviously then have the loom that you've already created. You get that loom, put it into a new link, and then you send that link across through email to the email address that they obviously gave you through the message or the reply they gave you. Then from there, of course, if they didn't watch the loom straight away, which may happen sometimes, obviously you get notified by loom, you get notification through email when they actually watch the loom when it's opened. I know you can also see how long they've watched the video too. And if they didn't watch the loom, then what you do is you add them to that first email sequence called the watch loom email sequence. The whole idea of that is just very, very friendly, normal emails that just replies them, kind of follows up with them and says, hey, I sent you over this email, I sent you over this loom a couple of days ago, just check in case you didn't have the time to see it. I'll leave the link here again for you to watch it. And that's all you're doing, maybe like over the space of like 2-3 months, just following up with them again and again and again over maybe like 5-6 days, making sure they watch it. As soon as they do watch it, then what happens is, most likely what will happen is they book in a call straight away. And how that will look is they'll book in a call through your Calendly, and you'll get a pretty much notification from your Calendly account that just has, for example, this lead is booked in a call, and this is what it looks like when you get the notification on your email. But if they don't book in a call straight away, through the button that will be in the Loom video, so on Loom you can have a button that just is next to the video that just says book in a call with me, and that can be the link to then go into your Calendly. And your Calendly is pretty much a software tool that people can pretty much book in a time with you and then fill out their details. You can get some information from them, and it sets up the call for you automatically. Then from there, if they don't don't book in a call, what you can do is you then add them to the second sequence, which is something called the appointment setting sequence. The whole idea of it is again to set the appointment, to book in the call with that lead. And again, for example, they may reply to you even saying again, hey, we will bite on your email, please schedule a time with my executive assistant to discuss. And then from there, they either will reply or just book in a call automatically through the link. And then from there, when they book in a call, you of course take the sales call and close them. Now how that looks, again, I'll walk through in a minute, but this is just to show you kind of a quick overview of the result that you'll probably get. Is they'll email you saying, hey, this is example one of my first ever clients, and they email me back the day after. Again, the reason you're seeing a different name there is because that was the name of the girl that I, used to kind of reach out to clients. So that was the email that I had, the name of the email that I had set up. And they just said, that client, my first ever call that I ever had when I was like 19, they said to me, hey, I just wanted to follow up and make sure you didn't send over anything to me that I missed, because I really want to get started with you guys ASAP. This was like a multiple 7-figure brand that wanted to work with me, even though I had no experience. And this is the kind of payment that you'll get most likely on that sales call. And to show you a quick overview of the results so you know what to expect and you know what to look for and what to kind of go for and what results you should want from your outreach, and how easy it actually is to get to a massive number in terms of your monthly revenue. Let's say, for example, which is the numbers I recommend, you message around 50 to 100 leads per day, which is not a hard thing to do. Again, if you have a virtual assistant doing it for you, you pretty much do nothing. Then from there, you aim for a 6 to 8% warm lead conversion rate. You get, for example, 4 to 8 warm leads every single day, which means you'll have 120 to 240 warm leads every single month. Then from there, you should have around a 5 to 7% conversion rate from warm lead to booked call. And then from there, what that means for you is you'll have 8 to 16 qualified sales calls every single month. And what that will mean for you is, at a minimum, like a complete minimum, you should be sending on 1 client per month. But in my opinion, it should be 2 to 5 clients per month. And that's not some special crazy results. That's very, very conservative. And I've seen it time and time again with my students that have launched their outreach. Within 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks, they're getting multiple calls booked in with multiple 7-figure brands. A student of mine, Sofian, right now, it's probably his first month or so of outreach, and he's had 6, 7, 8 calls booked in the first couple of weeks, and he's able to be able to close his first client as well in the first week, actually, in the 4th day of doing his outreach, which is not, now I'm seeing that as a kind of regular thing that I'm seeing with my students using this method. So let's move on now to how to close prospects for a number like 5 to even 10k per month, which is obviously the kind of average price that you should be charging with the offer that I've gone through in the free course. Now, some key points about closing clients and some kind of misconceptions that you may have had from watching videos, or you just may not have the kind of right beliefs about sales, is you do not need any sales experience to close clients with this business model, because what you'll be doing is not selling them. You'll be having a genuine, friendly conversation where you give the prospect advice and just talk to them and kind of build a relationship with them. Second is, you do not need any case studies or previous results to show to prospects. They usually don't even ask. So for example, if you go back to showing all the clients that I've sent in the past up until now, a couple of them only have asked me for results. The rest of them, none of them, most of those big clients that you saw just at the start, didn't ask me for any results, any case studies, any proof, any past work, nothing. Because of the way that I did the call, I was so genuine, so just like normal, not trying to sell them, and that is what then created the trust in them to not even care about asking me for results. And that's something that is very, very important to remember. Third is, you do not need to make any promises or guarantees about the results they'll be getting from working with you. So that's a kind of maybe a belief you may have is, why would they want to work with me if I can't promise them, or I don't know that I can get them a certain result? I hope you've seen throughout the whole entire the modules that we've gone through in the free course, that you understand what you are doing as a growth partner agency. What growth partner agencies do for their clients is solve pretty much all the problems that that matter the most to them, and then they need to get solved quickly. So, and through developing your own growth system, that growth system is the result. That growth system is what you're selling them on. So you don't need to sell them on, you're going to hit this number, we're going to get X amount of results, or we're going to grow you from here to there in this amount of months or days. It's purely just selling them on why you are the best fit to help them grow through this method of growth. You're not trying to promise them you're going to scale their business, or promise them that you're going to add an extra 100k a month to their revenue. None of that at all. You actually never mention anything like that at all in any of your sales calls or outreach. Now, to give you kind of overview of how the close works in terms of when you take a sales call, all that will happen is, again, they'll book in a call through Calendly. The call will be automatically set up with your Zoom account, and then when the time for the call comes, they'll jump on the Zoom call. You'll let them in. You have your camera on. You can even have the camera off if you wanted to, but again, it's totally up to you. And then from there, you just talk to them again. So the first 10 minutes, what this looks like is you build rapport, which just kind of means you build trust and a connection with them, and you also understand them and their situation. So the first 10 minutes is very, very relaxed, very normal, very just a normal conversation, honestly, with somebody that you just met. So you have a genuine conversation with the prospect, ask them where they're from, ask them how they're getting on, ask them whatever it is about their lives. Second is you get to know them, and you also build rapport. So maybe you share with them, where are you from, what's your kind of where are you at in life, have you been traveling, have you been living, what have you been doing. Then third, you ask them a question like, what kind of interested you the most to want to book in a call with me, and what kind of are you interested in fixing the most in your business. So you understand the situation a bit better, so you know how to tailor what you talk about in the rest of the call to exactly what they want to hear. Then you ask them again what their biggest problem is, so you can do the exact same. And also as well, you kind of tell them about yourself if they ask as well. You can just make them trust you and see you as a real person, not some kind of salesman. Then the whole goal of this is first to get the prospect to trust you as a person, very important point. Second is to build a personal connection with the prospect, and third is to get them interested in what you can do for them. Now the next stage is around the 10 to minute 25 mark, which is where you walk through the growth partnership proposal doc. Now how you do this, it kind of segue into this section of the call, is you say, for example, I'd love to show you how we help our clients grow through, for example, I'd say, ad creatives, affiliate creators and paid ads. And then they say, yeah, I'd love to see it. And that's pretty much where you go on to then screen share. You pull up the document, you press screen share on Zoom, and you pretty much walk through the document and just talk through it in a very kind of normal, passionate compassionate way. And also as well, you just obviously answer any of their questions. You ask them, do you have any questions, anything that doesn't make sense, and you make sure they understand how this all works. And this is one of the key, pretty much the key of a sales call. This is what replaces the need for you to sell or to be salesy or to understand how to persuade people. You don't need any of that when you know how to walk through the proposal doc in the right way. And it's very, very simple. The way that I built the proposal doc is so well structured, and it pretty much does the selling for you. If you walk through the proposal doc, pretty much just read off the screen, honestly. That's what I used to do and what I still do sometimes. And the goal with that step of the sales call is to show the prospect exactly what you can do for them in detail. Second is to make them believe that you are the perfect fit to solve all of their problems. And third is to get them to ask you, how can we start working with you? The same that you saw that email before, pretty much every single client that I've signed on, I've never needed to say on a call, how does that sound? Do you want to get started? Do you want to work with us? We never have to say that, because after you run through this proposal doc in the way that it's structured and the way that I've taught you to build it, it's so well built and it handles all of their objections that they just say to you, okay, like, that's perfect. I really want to get started with you. I really want to get started. So how does that look? And that's pretty much the next stage of the call, where you answer all of their questions, give them advice. You also ask them as well. So no, they ask you, of course, how can we get started? And then you show them the price, which is usually just one price you have for most clients you bring on board. So you have to like tailor it or anything like that, unless they have some certain situation that you need to tailor your price to. And also then you just go over the very simple process to get started, which is pretty much just sending over the payment link, them paying, and then getting them into a Slack chat or a WhatsApp chat and getting started from there. And then you usually just wait for their response. You just tell them exactly the process to get started, the price, and they will usually say pretty much all the time if they're a qualified prospect, that sounds great, I'd love to get started, can you send this all over to me so I can have a look at it after? And pretty much the goal here is to get the client to close themselves rather than you having to sell them on closing. So that's the big reason as to why you don't need sales experience. I had literally zero sales experience. I never read some sort of sales book, never bought a sales course, never had sales training, and I was able to close all the clients that I just showed you. And even till this day, I've never had sales training, never read a sales book. Why? Because I'm truly being valuable and being genuine on my calls, not trying to sell them and be like a salesperson. That's really a really important point to how we sell as growth partner agencies. And of course, the last most important part is to get them just to trust you as a person. They want to work with you, they trust you, and they so whatever you say to them in terms of what they need, they'll be, yeah, that sounds good, let's get started. Then from there, what you do is while you're on the call, you then send them over an email to the prospect while on that call, and that email will contain the first link to the process to payment. Second is the link to the proposal doc you just showed them on the call, and third is the link to the onboarding form that you'll create. Very simply, just kind of ask them very simple basic questions that you need for them to get started, just in terms of the kind of details of the company and just some kind of guidelines to follow. So yeah, that's pretty much it. And then from there, the whole goal is to get the prospect to process the kickoff payment, which is just through Stripe, usually very, very simple to set up, not hard at all. They just process it through their card, and also of course give the prospect or get the prospect to give you everything they need to get started. And of course, what it looks like is they'll just send you over a payment. You'll get a notification like this coming through to your Stripe, and you'll see on the call the bit of paid, and that's it. You got started and you have your first client. And of course, from there, that's the exact way it will be for all the clients you sign on. No matter if you're a complete beginner or you're at my stage where you have 4 or 5 years of experience, it's always the same thing. Nothing changes, and that's what's so powerful about this strategy. So if you either currently run an agency or you want to start one and scale as fast as possible, and you want my help setting up this outreach system and crafting your offer, where you can just copy and paste exactly what's working right now to sign on $5,000 per month clients, then that's exactly what I do for agency owners in my consulting program, the GPA Accelerator. If you want to find out more, then click the first link in the description, fill out the quick application form, and you'll be shown the next steps. I'm looking forward to seeing you on the other side.